So we want you to be part of this group, and you are going to take women away from practicing Islam. Taking people away from Islam is very difficult, but to make them weak Muslims was easy. So somebody who doesn't have a lot of knowledge of Islam, it'd be easy to misguide them. If you destroy a man, you destroy a man. If you destroy a woman, you destroy the generations that come after her. Essentially, I went to 13 schools in 12 years. I started international relations. Then I did a degree in English. I did another bachelor's in science. I did a master's in composition and rhetoric. And my PhD is artificial intelligence, linguistic aspects. I believed that Jesus was God and the Son of God, and that if we didn't accept him and we didn't worship him, then we would go to hell. So that was my basic belief. At some point, I started to ask myself questions, and I even went to a Christian priest, a Catholic priest, and I asked him about the concept of the Trinity, because it was very strange and it was hard to intellectualize. I'm a very logical, intellectual type person. The way that he explained it was like nonsense to me. I had a hard time understanding it and accepting it, but I really believed in God. Everything around me, everybody around me was saying Jesus is God, the Son of God. Who was I to be questioning it? And in high school, my dad's commander came to me and he said, look, we know your family, we know your position, we know that you are really good at debating and talking to people and convincing people, and your grades are good and you're a good Christian. So we want you to be part of this group, and you are going to take women away from practicing Islam to basically being free and feminist and living their lives. I really had no clue what Islam was. I'd never really studied it or learned about it. So I thought Muslim women are backwards, they don't know the real life, and that's what motivated me. I wanted to fix them, I wanted to save them. They knew that taking people away from Islam is very difficult, but to make them weak Muslims was easy. As I said, I never dealt with any danger. I never even finished with them. And while I was in the university, in the evenings I was sitting with a group of Christians, and well, actually it was mostly Jews, that would teach me Quran and Hadith and how to play with it. So somebody who doesn't have a lot of knowledge of Islam, it'd be easy to misguide them. So they were teaching me to do these types of things. But in order to do that, I had to read Quran. I had to read Hadith. They also recognize that if you destroy a man, you destroy a man. If you destroy a woman, you destroy the generations that come after her. So they become less practicing of Islam. They become weaker and more focused on the dunya and not on the akhirah. These people can be easily manipulated and moved and done whatever they want to do with them. They don't care if these people go to Jannah or Jahannam. What they care about is we can control them, we can manipulate them, we can make this society do what we want them to do. The strongest way to control people is sex, drugs, and music. And by music, it means like all of media. So utilizing these things, you keep people doing what you want to do or focused on life, and you don't notice it and you don't care because you're focused on whatever it is that I need that is dunya oriented. The first thing, as I'm reading, you're reading the Quran, it is so logical. The Quran makes sense. When you're sitting there and reading it and looking over the verses, you're understanding there's only one God. This God doesn't have a child. This God is omnipotent. It made sense. Nobody could answer the questions when I asked them about this Trinity. So it really appealed to my sense of logic. That is why when I was starting to learn it and it started to appeal to me, I decided to take classes in Christianity to make myself a stronger Christian. I go into the class, it's a Harvard graduate professor. He's like 80-something years old. And the first thing he did in class, he picked up a copy of the Bible, the King James Version, in English. And he said, take this and throw it in the trash. My heart froze. And then he said, Jesus didn't speak English, meaning that he believed that there was only one God and that Jesus was a prophet. Subhanallah. Before this time, I'm reading and studying to not want to be a Muslim. because I loved the Quran, but I didn't want Islam. I wanted to know the truth. I get a phone call from a student at the university. He said to me, there's a group of people here. They're traveling around the United States and they want to meet you. I agreed to go and meet with the people. MashaAllah, the man, his name was Namatullah. He had to be over 80. Big white beard, no black hair anywhere, only white hairs, but very intelligent. And I'm questioning him, and he's telling me, no, in the Bible they changed this. No, this was actually added. And then it clicked, and now it makes sense. It's logical. And that's what convinced me. If I had been a Jew when Isa alayhi salam came, I would have had to accept Isa alayhi salam. So how can I now deny Muhammad, even if it means giving up my life? It wasn't easy, and I honestly believe that Allah strengthened me. When I took the Shahada, I felt something I never felt before. I was saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and I felt like there was something heavy on my chest that had been ripped off. I literally went, and it was as if for the first time in my life, I had breathed in. I put on hijab the day I became Muslim, so they threw me out of the university. Daddy knows that I love fast cars. He bought me a Ferrari. He's like, it's yours if you take off your hijab. But I had to say, I'm sorry. Dunya or Allah, which do I want? But then Allah opened the door. My father by that time was in Puerto Rico. He was the base commander in Puerto Rico. He called me and he said, there's been a on the lives of all of us that work on the military and federal buildings here. All of these positions, them and their families have been by a group of people who wanted Puerto Rico to be independent. So my father called me and he's like, you'll have security at your house within an hour. And he sent a Marine to my house to guard. And then he flew me to where he was. I can't blame my father. If you love someone, he loved me, I'm his daughter, you want to save them from what you think is a mistake. But now I'm in danger. So he said, forget all that, let me just get her back. And that's what he did. So from that moment, alhamdulillah, he took care of everything. I know it sounds weird. I had read the hadiths that if Allah loves somebody, He tests them. He doesn't want you to have in your heart other than Him, not the dunya, not your family, not your society. So I felt that, okay, Allah's testing me. Allah wants to see if I really believe. Allah wants to see if I'm gonna be good. And if I do it, He's gonna love me. And that's the thing that motivated me. I wanted Allah to love me. I never even told anybody how I became Muslim until maybe 10, 12 years after I became Muslim. Somebody asked me the question and they were shocked by my answer. And from that moment, they were like, you need to write this. You need to put this on the internet. And I did. I wrote it, and that's when people started to show me, oh, wait a minute, this is amazing. We didn't know that this existed. We've heard of such things, but we didn't know that it's real. But before that, I never even told anybody how I had become Muslim.